Hello Primary 5 students, how are you? Welcome in your science class with me, Dr. شيماء حمدي قاسم, and your channel, the Big Sister channel. As now, we will study lesson 4 from concept 3, unit 1. It has the title, Habitat Restoration. It comes from the verb restore, as to return it back to its natural state before damaging. As last time we talked about habitat loss, and we know some activities that make the habitat damaged, and this negatively affect the food web. So now we will learn how to restore this habitat, return it back to its natural state before it is harmed. And this process called habitat restoration. Restoration. This is a process of returning a habitat back to its natural state before harm was done. We already know that environmental changes like the temperature increases, and this is one of the climate changes, and human activities may negatively impact the ecosystems. And we have here one of the human activities that negatively impact the ecosystem, as we have here the wetland ecosystem. We know wetland ecosystem is a system that has covered with shallow water, grasses, and plants, and this wetland is habitat for many living organisms. And as this habitat is covered with a lot of plants, so these plants and the soil protect the land from the flooding. What is the meaning of flooding? When the water increases, the level of the water increases and go to the sides. So here it covers with the plants. So these plants take this water and use it in the soil and take this water to grow these plants. But when human activity, which is cutting the trees or removing the plants, when a lot of plants are removed from this ecosystem, what will happen? The river banks erode, and the sides of the river will be eroded because the soil is damaged. And here, this may cause the floods, as when the water level increases in the river, it will cause floods as they reach farther areas when the wetlands are drained. Okay? And why these floods will reach farther area? Because there is no soil, no plants that absorb this water. So the water, the floods will go farther. This is even more that these plants and this wetland is destroyed now. Many living organisms that live in this habitat will negatively affected by the removing of these plants. So if we have a question here, give reason for when the plants are removed from the river banks, the floods become more dangerous. So the reason here, due to the river banks eroding, because when the plants are removed, so the river banks erode, and this causes the floods to become more dangerous. So now we will talk about some ways to restore the habitats which lead to healthy and balanced ecosystem. So we will see restoration projects. What are restoration projects? Those are projects that allow scientists to find out, to search for the best solution to reduce the damage in the habitat, to reduce the negative impacts of the human activities. And the scientists search for solution for these problems that happens for the habitat. So what is the importance of the habitat restoration projects? These projects try to repair all parts of habitat, which is a resource for food and shelter and water for the living organisms that live in these habitats, as they prevent species from extinction. Because if the habitat is damaged or negatively affected, so this will cause a problem for the species, as the species may be extincted, okay, die, and they will not be found again. So this is the importance of the habitat restoration projects, that these projects try to repair the parts of the habitat, which is resource for food and shelter for many organisms, so the organisms not be extincted. Examples for these projects, like rebuilding the coral reefs, and another project which is about protecting coral reefs from plastic pollution. So those are two projects. Rebuilding the coral reefs, and this is a project to repair what happens to the coral reefs. So this is called coral reefs rehabilitation. Rehabilitation. And this means to help it get back, to improve, okay? So coral reef rehabilitation project, this is in the Arabian Gulf. You know the Arabian Gulf? Arabian Gulf, the area that contains Saudi Arabia and Emirates, okay? This is the Arabian Gulf. So there is a project there which is called Coral Reefs Rehabilitation Project. And here in this project, the scientists collect small parts of different coral species and move them to a nursery, another area called the nursery. This is an area in the sea or ocean where the scientists take care of the small pieces of coral until they grow up and can be moved back to the reefs where they were dying, as they go to a harmed area from the coral reefs and take a piece of this coral to move it to an area called the nursery to take care from this piece until it grows up healthy and they can move it back to its place, the original place. The healthy coral can continue growing and reproducing to make a new coral reefs again. Those are healthy and without any harms. This is was the first project. The second project is the protecting coral reefs from plastic pollution. This is in Egypt, in the coastal communities. What the meaning of coastal communities? Communities that found on the coast of sea, like areas that found in Mediterranean Sea or Red Sea. So in these communities, they try to use a new way in life called zero plastic, where people decrease their use from one-use plastics. What is the one-use plastics? The plastic cups and plastic plates and forks, all these one-use plastic. They try to reach to zero plastic, as to don't use this kind of plastic, to decrease the plastic pollution. As for example, replace these one-use plastic by the paper bags or other materials that is not one-use plastic, so we will decrease the plastic pollution and we will decrease the harm that happens to the coral reefs in these areas. Two projects, we finished our lesson how to rebuild the habitat restoration. So don't forget to subscribe, like and share my channel, Thank you for watching. See you next video إن شاء الله and goodbye.